as why we come to stories of significance, just so that we can hear those stories and be inspired to do something. So listening to someone is not because you're going to start their kind of business. It's because they're gonna say something that when you get home, you're gonna go like, that's what it was supposed to mean. Whenever you come here, make it so deliberate so that you can know what are these strides. Because maybe you have made those strides, maybe you have made that money, but you're gonna lose it because you don't know how to maintain it.
The stories of our speakers, they are authentic. They come from the experiences they've gone through, from the community that we are from. And as we wind up the year of stories of significance, the 12th month, then we have Onestar Magiri, the wife to Mwenda Thuranira, closing that year, the program that we started. I think we need to give a very huge hoot to that family and to their business. Could we do, please? Let us give it a hoot. 1, 2, 3, go.
My name is Onestar Magiri. Mostly on Facebook, you're going to find my name is Vanessa. That's a story for another day. I'm married with 2 boys. My husband is the brilliant Mr. Mwenda Thuranira. You all know him. I have a company. It's actually a family company, MySpace Properties. But now, before I get to there, I'm a Meru, born and raised in Isiolo. I went to Garbatula High School. I don't know if any of you know where that is. It is far away north of Isiolo, like 150 kilometers away from Isiolo. My mother was a cateress there, so I schooled there from standard 1 to form 4. You can imagine going to the same school where your mother is working. So my discipline was really very high. I didn't have a choice. When I turn this side, she's there. When I turn the other side, she's there. But I thank her all the time. She's late, she passed on, because she instilled the best discipline a mother can give to a child. So from my childhood, being raised by a single mother, that time I was me and my brother, Basilio. We were very close, and we are just 1 year apart from each other. So we just look like twins. Since I was a kid, you can imagine a girl without a dad. You know, most of the girls, we all identify us with our fathers. So I didn't have that father figure with me. And I remember I started praying to God and asking God, God, I want to get married, and I want my marriage, to be successful. Those were my prayers since I was very, very little. Because sometimes I could see my mother, the way she used to struggle, bringing up kids. Sometimes they are not paid. Working in school, sometimes you're told the school fees has not been paid, so you're not going to be paid your salaries. So what she opted to do, she started making mandazis. And I was part of that. When we were small, we could make mandazis and sell to the students. You know, in a boarding school, definitely you want some grab here and there. And since Garbatula is very, very far away from life, you don't have anywhere to buy anything. So apart from those mandazis, and I remember some kids used to make fun of us. Like when somebody hits you, they're like, nitakupiga ufure kama mandazi ya ketarez. So you can imagine. So even right now, when I meet most of the students who are in Garbatula, they remember me through the mandazis. And through those mandazis, my mother saved and she was able to buy the property, the house where we built now in Isiolo. You see, entrepreneurship. So I stayed there up to Form 4. After Form 4, we were in the same class with my brother, Basilio. And I remember my mother sitting us down and she told us, now, since you have finished, I don't have money to take you to college, both of you together. Now you're going to decide who is going to go first, either you or your brother. Since I was the youngest, I decided, I was like, it's okay, let him go. And since my mother was also expecting another baby, I was so excited to stay next to her and see our brother who was on the way coming. So my brother came to Mombasa Polytechnic. 2 years, I was at home nursing our small baby, my small brother now. Is just like my son. Now, at that time, my mother could look at me and she could see what I was missing as a girl. You can imagine you have finished high school. You also want to look like other girls who have finished high school, putting on nice jeans, all that kind of life. But since she could not give it to me, I don't know what triggered her. But I remember one time when they were paid, she came with her salary. She gave me and she told me, from now I'll be giving you my salary. All what I need is 1,500. The rest of the money, you make sure your brother school fees in Mombasa is paid and his pocket money. Make sure the house has food. Make sure everything is paid for. Whatever remains, I'll not even ask you. So I was given, I was so happy. Around 18,000. That was the salary at that time. I was so happy. I was like, yes, Sasa, najua Isiolo watanitambua. After dividing all the money, there was nothing which was left. So now that put me in another world, thinking about my mother. Like this woman is really struggling, and sometimes she can't even buy herself anything, and she has given me all what she earns, So we stayed, every month she used to do that, and it really motivated me to go out and work so hard to make sure she has a good life. So after my mother finished, God was so good to me that year when he was finishing, I got to Utalii College. It was so hard at that time even to think of going to Utalii College, So I got Utalii College, I reported. And I used to think of all the problems my mother was going through, So there is this teacher who used to teach us before in Garbatula. He was a missionary. And sometimes in school, I used to take care of his children. And he used to give me some money for pocket money. So I wrote to him. I told him, you know what, I've gotten this college and I'll be needing school fees. Thank God, him and the family, they agreed to sponsor my all 2 years of Utalii. They used to send me money. I go get money. I send some money back home, just thinking of what my mother is going through. I studied very hard in Utalii I did not even take one off. Like when the school is closed, I used to work at Utalii Hotel. That's how hardworking I was. As in, instead of going back home, I just used to tell the teacher, it's okay, I'm going to work at Utalii Hotel. So I worked, I finished my school, I graduated, and then I decided, you know what, me, I'm not going to Isiolo. To do what? If I go back there, I don't know what is going to happen, because where will I get a job? So I talked to my friends. I stayed 3-4 months. The 5th month, I got a job at Lillian Towers. I got a job there. I worked very hard. I believe in working hard. I did. By 7 in the morning, I used to be at work. As in, never called in sick by any chance. I saved and saved. I remember there is a group which was coming in Utalii from Disney World, coming to recruit people to go and work in Disney. And since I was at work, my friend was available. So I told her, when you go to apply, please, can you apply for me? Because I can't call in sick, because my job is very important for me. Can you believe her she didn't get, but I got? It was a surprise to me. And since she really wanted to go, she applied to go to Australia. So when I was leaving like tonight, she left the following day in the morning. But her, you know, she was from a well-off family. And when I applied actually now to go to the States, everybody at home, my mother, they were just laughing. Even the passport, where will you get? You know, see, we've had many people, you know, when people used to apply for passport and you stay for even 3-4 years without it, unless you know somebody there. So everybody was like, Onestar, wewe na mambo yako, you know. So me, I pushed. I went to the American embassy. I went in the morning. They told me, come for your visa at 3. Really? A visa? Me? So I called my mother. Those times, there was no mobile phones. Unapiga kwa booth, ndi anaenda anaitwa, you know. So I remember after getting my visa, the following day I went to Isiolo. I stayed for the weekend. I came back to Nairobi, and on a Thursday, I was off to the States. I went to the States with $500 in my pocket. That's all what I had. But thank be to God, where I was going, because it was a Disney-related program, we had our apartments. They were all paid for, and we used to get a small allowance of $250 a month. That's the only thing you used to get, because they believed those people who are coming, of course, they have parents who can support them. But me, you can imagine telling your mother to send you 18,000 she's getting to America. That will be like, how much? $180 today, Yeah. So I went there. There were so many challenges. First, I didn't know anything about computers because I was ignorant when I was in Utalii. But because of my determination, I was able to learn everything about computers. You can imagine from Utalii, me, I was actually not in the front office. I used to do housekeeping. Now I've applied to come and do front office, my friend. there are some systems. I don't know even what are the systems. I've never heard of systems. So everybody used to come and, what system do you use? I'm like, what system? I'm not sure. So I talked to my friends, what system do you use? Opera Fidelio, I don't know what. But I'm telling you the truth. By my third month, I used to be left in the front office for the night audits without any problem. By the 6th month, I was the employee of the month. Wow. Yes. Now, after that, after 1 year, the program was over, and actually the same hotel I was working for, they applied for my green card. That's how good, that's how hardworking I was. I could do my job. If somebody calls in sick, I'm like, I'll continue. When I think about my mother, where she is, I could do anything. Now, after that, I got the job there. I worked for the Marriott Hotel, and then I worked for the Crown Plaza. I'm a hotelier by profession. And for 3 years that I worked in the hotel, I saved every single coin to build for my mother. My first 3-4 years, I did not enjoy anything in America because all the money, I had 2 jobs, all the money, I used to send it home. I built for her, I bought her whatever she wanted, and then after 4 years, I talked to them, I told them, now I have a life. From there, that's when I met my husband. We had met before then, but I didn't want to get into a relationship. Otherwise, I'm going to pull my head from doing whatever I was coming to America to do. From there, I met my husband, and we decided to start business. And our first business was trucking. We used to do trucks, not to drive, but we used to get loads for the trucks. It's like managing trucks. So that was actually my core duty, to make sure all the trucks, all the drivers, they have the loads, they've delivered on time, and then I do the invoices, I go get the checks, I pay, I prepare the payroll and everything. That was my work. We did all that, and then we started looking at real estate, just specs, kidogo kidogo. We didn't get into it very much because at that time, the credit crunch was hitting the country. So everything was on foreclosure. So now we decided, you know what, with the trucks, the way things are going, and with the real estate, the way things are going, it's better we come back home. And before we came back home, we had also invested a lot in Kenya. So that's when we decided, you know what, let's just go back home. We got into real estate, we got into development, and I can say it has not been a very easy journey. It has been hills and slopes and everything, but with God's strength, we have been able to be where we are. To keep your marriage is not easy. Business, it is not easy. Being employed, it is not easy. So it is upon you to choose one of those lines which is not easy. We start from there. Nothing is easy in this world. So always take that step forward. Don't look backwards. What's the worst can happen? To die? you'll be closer to God anyway, so it is okay. That's what I tell myself every day. My dream is to be the best real estate company, not only in Kenya, but in Africa and the whole world. And I know we are going to be there. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.